object into orbit requires thousands of scientists, state resources, and budgets that stretch into the billions of dollars. In 1961, that barrier to entry felt entirely insurmountable. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a tense, highly secretive race to achieve atmospheric dominance. But inside a dusty California garage, the space race was being joined by an unlikely set of actors. A small group of amateur ham radio operators, ordinary hobbyists without security clearances or government backing, decided they were going to build and launch a satellite of their own. They were setting out to test a new assumption, that the stars could be accessed by anyone with a soldering iron and enough determination. This team didn't have pristine clean rooms, advanced aerospace materials, or military-grade funding. This wireframe animation shows exactly how they navigated those limitations. They built a simple, rectangular metal casing that weighed a grand total of 10 pounds. Inside that casing sat a basic radio transmitter. They called their device OSCAR, an acronym for Orbiting Satellite Carrying Amateur Radio. To ensure the device could actually survive the freezing vacuum of space, they relied entirely on off-the-shelf components you could find at a local hardware store. By stripping away the excess, these hobbyists successfully miniaturized orbital technology using everyday parts. Building a satellite is difficult, but generating the 17,500 miles per hour of thrust required to reach orbit is a physical impossibility for a civilian operation. The team's solution was surprisingly direct. They simply asked NASA if they could tuck their tiny metal box into the leftover cargo space of an upcoming space mission. In a highly unusual move, NASA agreed, allowing the OSCAR project to piggyback on their Discoverer rocket completely free of charge. On December 12, 1961, the ignition sequence started, and the Discoverer rocket tore into the sky. When that rocket cleared the atmosphere, it carried the first non-governmental payload in human history. Once in orbit, OSCAR 1 successfully separated from the launch vehicle and deployed its antennas into the void. This animation shows the exact signal OSCAR 1 transmitted. Instead of complex telemetry data, it broadcasted a simple Morse code sequence of dots and dashes, translating to the letters H and I. H-I, H-I, H-I. Down below, thousands of amateur radio operators across the globe tuned their headsets to the sky to catch those faint, rhythmic radio waves. That Morse code laugh signaled that the space age had become a participatory frontier. The mission itself was short-lived. Because it had no way to recharge, OSCAR 1's batteries died after just 22 days, silencing the transmission forever. Those 3 weeks provided the data required to prove a civilian space network could function perfectly. We trace a direct line from that 1961 garage project to the modern space industry. Today, thousands of low-cost devices, known as CubeSats, orbit Earth. Universities and startups routinely launch miniature satellites, utilizing the exact blueprint the OSCAR team established. The path to orbit for students and hobbyists opened with that 10-pound metal box. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the history of technology.